Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fort Dorchester High School Coaches Show, brought to you by Stokes Mazda on Ashley Phosphate Road in North Charleston. We are in the Stokes showroom right now. They're out at every game giving you a chance to kick to win and driving a brand new Stokes Mazda for the next year. Or if you're 17 and younger, you can win $1,000. So get signed up when you walk through the gates of Steve LaPratt Field at Bagwell Stadium and sign up to kick to win. And our thanks to Stokes Mazda for their support. I'm the voice of the Patriots, Richard Todd, here with head coach Sean Lawrenzano as we talk Patriot football and we head into a pivotal part of the season. And coach, it feels like it's been a while since we've had a home game there at Steve LaPratt Field at Bagwell Stadium. It'll be great to be back in the friendly confines of Fort Dorchester.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had some long road trips, so this is very good to finally be at home.
And the next home game, in fact, coming up on a Friday night, October I'm doing the math real quick, October the 10th, that's going to be Hall of Fame night. We're going to be inducting the class of 2024 into the Fort Dorchester Athletic Hall of Fame. So Patriots, come out and support your team. Coach, right now, we find ourselves at a pivotal part of the season, 3-3 on the season, 0-1 in the region. Yeah. Started the season 3-0, have lost the last 3 games, some of them by sizable margins. But let's talk about the Ashley Ridge game, because here's the first region game of the year against a crosstown rival. Right. And it was a game that was action-packed, back and forth, both sides. Just your overall reaction just to the game and the result, and just how the Patriots played in that game against the Smallpoxes.
Well, I'll give all the credit to Ashley Ridge's offense. They have a real powerful offense. I mean, they can do a lot. They have a lot of weapons. The quarterback's pretty good, and they're getting it done. I mean, they've been putting up a lot of points on every single team this year. That was a concern going into this game. Would we have the matchups that we could kind of keep them out of the end zone, and then could we score enough points to get over the top? And we changed a lot offensively, schematically, defensively. I think we were right there. I mean, I think when you watch the game, we're hitting them in the backfield. We're hitting them, but we're not focused on details, and the details need to come, out of our tackle circuits and where we're teaching them to wrap up and we're teaching them to grab cloth and uppercut and things like that. At some point, I think we're more about that instant gratification of a big hit rather than the discipline of the details, right? So, that goes into a young team. When they were all on JV last year. They don't quite understand I don't think they quite understand the gravity and the level that they're playing at right now.
And just quickly, just mention, I mean, I don't know if people realize how young a team this is.
Yeah, I mean, offensively they were all on JV, all of them except for 2 guys. So and it just goes to tell you they've got to learn. They've got to go through fire. So as we're playing these games, the first 3 games were really learning experiences where we played hard and kind of came out on top. And we faced 2 big adversaries and strong adversaries statewide. And then we come into Ashley Ridge and we compete hard. Again, we drop a lot of balls offensively. Schematically, I think we were right there, tit for tat with everything they were doing. We've got to just take care of those details. Those details guys are dropping balls that normally don't drop balls. So, guys are not lining up properly or fiddling around with gloves and fiddling around with getting lined up right. And that all is mental discipline and self-discipline that we preach over and over again. Now it kind of cost us in this game, those small little details. So we're working on those details in practice. We're working hard on them. And I think the boys have woken up to, it's not just coach yelling at me. It's us self-policing us so that they can really move forward.
And what you're talking about is really being brilliant at the basics. Catching, tackling,
correct,
avoiding those costly penalties. We had a number of those that really hurt us, and then there were other penalties that were not called that probably could have been. Right. You had a touchdown taken off the board with the kickoff return due to a penalty. Just that being brilliant at the basics. Once you're brilliant at the basics, the rest can flourish. Absolutely. But with a young team, you're still in that learning process.
We are, and then that's what as a group we understand. I think the kids are starting to understand that, and they're starting to learn those lessons, and they're starting to apply the application of the lessons and get better and do the right things. And so you know, we're on the right track. We're on the right track. I know it's hard to see the vision down the road when you're kind of, you know, you come into a storied program and you know you now we inherit this young team, and we've got to learn these lessons, and we've just got to go through the fire, and we will come out on top. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in their mind. There's no doubt in our coach's mind. There's no doubt in our admin's mind. We are going to come out of this, and we're going to come out of this on top. But these lessons learned are going to be great lessons learned for when we're making championship runs and and you know we're fighting for it. You know, I want to learn lessons that are going to get us a state championship eventually. You know, bring back those 2015 days. Actually, let's start new ones. But I also know that we gotta take the steps to get there, and we've got to play teams like the ones we played up north. Mm-hmm. We can't just, you know, I want to run the low country, but you know, I want to beat those teams from up north too, and we got to play them, and we've got to play like them, and we've got to play better than them. So we're going to keep playing them. We're going to keep getting better, and there's no fear or doubt in any of the kids' minds or in our minds. We're all on the same page, and we're going to keep getting better and moving forward.
We've talked about the fact that really every year the goal is to win the region, put yourself in a great position for the playoffs. We've talked about the fact over the early part of the season about the defense, how well the defense had played. You know, you're coming off of tough losses against South Florence and against White Knoll, where the offense really struggled and couldn't support the defense. You go into the Ashley Ridge game, Coach Tate's done a great job over at Ashley Ridge. He said putting the squad together. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball first. You mentioned some issues with tackling, making the hit, but then trying to complete the tackle, right, and giving up over 500 yards of total offense. Obviously, it's tough to win when you give up that much in offense, and you had over 300 yards of passing for Ashley Ridge against the Patriot defense. When you look back on the game, what do you think were some of the issues the defense had in trying to slow down that Swamp Fox attack?
And it was some of the discipline on their side, but we got caught a few times transitioning guys on and off the field for penalties in key situations. You know, they move very fast. So as far as their offense goes, and getting lined up and getting ready to run their play. So, and again, coverage-wise, we blew a couple coverages. You know, they're kids, man, and they just kind of got to learn. And I'm not gonna, you know, we're gonna teach them, and we're not gonna, you know, we're going to dog them out every single time. They're going to get an earful if they're not doing the right thing, if they're lazy, or if it's something like that. And if they're poor at tackling, they're going to get an earful, and we're going to teach them how to do it. And we're going to keep repping that, and it's going to click. It will click. Today it's clicking. I'm watching it in practice because we're double whistling, we're policing that kind of stuff. But you know, I think that Friday night was just a reflection of just where we're at in our growth process. You know, we're still not there yet. We're still doing basics. We're still doing some of the basics, not 100%. So we've got to work on that. We got to get better at it.
And the hardest part was, you know, falling behind early and making it be a 2-possession game. We'd score and make it a 1-possession game, and then Ashley Ridge would score again and make it a 2-possession game. It kept kind of going back and forth like that. I know that's got to be frustrating on the sideline when you want to give your offense the ball and the chance to tie or take the lead, which happened in the fourth quarter with a fumble, a turnover created by the defense on a great sack and a sack fumble, but then the offense couldn't push it in there. That has to be frustrating when they're there on the sideline, and you know you've got the offensive power, which we'll talk about that in a second because of the offensive performance against Ashley Ridge, but defensively just not being able to get off the field.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, we've got to have. We did sustain. I think we had something like 17 first downs on offense. We're sustaining drives, but it just seems like we don't do it at a timely manner that the defense needs us to do it at. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they're on the field for a long time, then we can't sustain the drive, and they're back on the field, but later on we'll sustain a drive when it just we've got to put it all together in one game and really you know, and we did those first 3 games we put it together against some good teams. I mean, you know, again, I don't. We got challenged for the last 2 weeks, and we come into this game, and I thought we played well. I thought we played well, even on defense. I thought we were in position. Again, it's the finish, it's the details, and I keep harping on that because that's where we lost the game. That's where we lost the game. Small details. You might think it's you know, you might think it's okay to to fix your gloves. You might think it's okay to run on the field late and not scream somebody's name out to get off the field. You might think it's okay, but no, it's not. You've got to move. There has to be a sense of urgency, a sense of urgency every snap, and we'll get there. And we're going to police it. And we don't get there, the guys that do it are going to play, and the guys that don't are not. So,
well, let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. He had over 300 yards of total offense. Well, over 200 of that was on the ground. The guys up front on the offensive line did a great job. And we've got to mention just the performance by Ryan Campbell, just what he did. And the announcers on the television coverage were just raving about his speed, his agility, and his overall talent. He would have a sliver of daylight created by that offensive line, and then he would take it to the house. There were several touchdowns where he just darted through the defense of Ashley Ridge and took it to the end zone. And there was one down inside the red zone where he literally collided with the player for Ashley Ridge, and that just spun off and took it into the end zone. I mean, we just have to mention that was quite a game from Ryan Campbell rushing-wise. He had over 200 yards, and anytime a running back gets that many yards, you got to give credit to the guys up front.
You do, it probably would have been a lot more. Those boys up front those Hogs were getting it done, and they were moving the front. They were doing their job every single play. It just seemed. I think it could have been more. Even like on that play, you say where Ryan. I think he kind of attacked it at a different angle. If he would have attacked it at the angle he was supposed to, it would have been a lot easier play. He wouldn't have had to run into somebody. But he did. But he's that kind of guy. It doesn't. He's very talented. He's deceptively stronger than his body size comes.
We've always mentioned that the first guy doesn't take him down.
No, he's very good at making very physical plays and people missing. You really can't tackle him from the side or at an angle. It's going to be very hard for you to really get him down from that. So he's, you've really got to gang tackle, and he's got to get met by 2 or 3 guys.
I'll tell you honestly, in the 26 years I've been doing Fort Dorchester football, that was as good a single game performance by an individual player that I've ever seen in Ryan Campbell's performance. The passing game, like you said, it was really more a matter of you had some good passes and you had some good routes. Completing the receptions.
Right. It was about the finish. So it's got to be about the finish. It's got to be about catching the ball. I think Kevin. I mean, he was on. I mean, he was putting dimes. I mean, he had a couple touchdown passes that just didn't get caught, and some little hitch plays that would have opened up into some more first downs and things like that. He was on. He did a great job, Kevin Johnson. But again, in our receiver corps, we just got to take care of business. And I believe in these boys. I will tell them that right now. And if whoever's watching, I believe in these boys. They will get it done. They understand where they're at. They understand where they need work, and they're willing to put the work in. And when you get kids like that, we're going to be a force at some point. We're going to be a force when they start getting it right. And hopefully it's going to be this week, baby.
That's
hopefully
right.
It's going to be this week.
Well, after falling back behind 22-6 there early in the second quarter, the game then really went back and forth. I mean, really a lot of great action and a lot of highlights. And in the end, it was a 49-35 victory for Ashley Ridge over Fort Dorchester, putting the Patriots 0-1 in the region. Now you've got 2 games in a row at home, starting with the Hall of Fame matchup against the West Ashley Wildcats. That'll be followed by another home game against the James Island Trojans, and then one more road game at Stall before we end the season with Somerville. So right now, every game is the focus is on that region record and making sure you put yourself in a position. And now you've got the Wildcats coming to town for Hall of Fame night. So I know right now the focus is to learn from the mistakes, eliminate them, and start getting brilliant at the basics.
Absolutely. And that's what we're preaching all week in practice. West Ashley looks strong on film. They look pretty tough and they look pretty coached up and disciplined. We are humble right now. Trust me. And you lose some games and you really look in the mirror and you start to figure out what am I doing as a coach I need to get better at, and that's each of us. And our Sunday meetings reflect that. What the players? What am I doing as a player that I need to get better? And when you get a bunch of guys reflecting like that and humbling themselves, leadership, humility, hard work, and sacrifice is kind of the pillars of how the way I think. We have 4 hits, which is hard work, intensity, together we sacrifice, and that's kind of the one that they came up with off of my acronym that I like, and I like theirs better because the kids came up with it organically. But we just gotta. again, we've got to see it through. We've got to make sure that we reflect on on the things that we've done wrong and get better at it and work at it. So these boys are going to be all right. I believe in them. They believe in each other. We'll stick together despite all the adversity, and we're going to get this W this week.
Don't forget that if you can't make it to the game, you can listen to the game on Facebook, also on X, formerly Twitter. Just make sure you look for Fort Dorchester Sports Radio, and you can listen to the game there. But we'd love to see you at the stadium supporting the Patriots and saluting the class of 2024 for the Hall of Fame game, the Hall of Fame class and induction ceremony that's going to happen. Kickoff is 7:30 against the West Ashley Wildcats as the Patriots sit at 3-3 after starting 3-0, now on a 3-game losing streak, 0-1 in the region. We need your support. We want to see you out there. Our thanks again to Stokes Mazda for their support, and we thank you for supporting and watching this edition of the Fort Dorchester High School Coaches Show.